The proxy design pattern is a structural design pattern that provides a surrogate or placeholder for another object to control access to it. This pattern involves creating a proxy object that acts as an interface to the real object, providing additional functionality like lazy initialization, access control, logging, or remote access. I'm Balaji Chandrasekharan. Please like, share my video, and subscribe my channel. The following are the key concepts of the proxy pattern. Subject interface, an interface that defines the common operations for both the real object and the proxy. For example, a weather data service retrieves weather information from a remote server. Fetching this data is resource intensive. A caching proxy can store the results and serve them for repeated requests within a short time frame. The weather service interface declares the getWeather method that both the real service and the proxy will implement. Real subject is the actual object that performs the real operations. The real weather service class contains the actual logic to fetch weather data from the remote server. For simplicity, we'll simulate this process with a print statement. The real weather service implements the getWeather method to simulate fetching weather data from a remote server. It prints a message to simulate the fetching process. The proxy object that controls access to the real subject. It implements the same interface as the real subject and holds a reference to the real subject. The weather service proxy class caches the weather data to avoid fetching it repeatedly from the remote server. It maintains a cache, of map object type, to store weather data for different locations. If the data for a location is in the cache, it returns the cached data and prints a message indicating that cached data is being used. If the data for a location is not in the cache, it fetches the data from the real weather service and stores it in the cache. The proxy pattern demo client class uses the proxy to get weather data. It demonstrates how the proxy serves cached data for repeated requests to the same location. It fetches weather data for location 1 and location 2 multiple times to show the caching behavior. The following are some of the benefits of the proxy pattern. Controlled access. The proxy can control access to the real object, which is useful for security and access control. Lazy initialization. The proxy can delay the creation and initialization of the real object until it is actually needed, improving performance. Additional functionality. The proxy can add additional behavior when accessing the real object, such as logging, caching, or remote access. The following are some of the use cases of the proxy pattern. Lazy initialization, when object creation is resource intensive and should be delayed until needed. Access control, to restrict access to sensitive objects based on user permissions. Logging, to add logging functionality when accessing an object. Remote access, to provide a local representation of an object located in a different address space. The proxy pattern is a versatile and useful pattern for controlling access to objects, adding additional functionality, and improving performance through techniques like lazy initialization. We have reached the conclusion of this session and look forward to seeing you in our next one. We hope you have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in.